And we are live. Welcome to the June 8th update for self-care and strategy for entrepreneurs through the coronavirus event. I'm your host, Dr. Sabrina Starling, the business psychologist here at Tap the Potential. And I am joined today with Erin Longmoon of Zephyr Recruiting. Say hi, Erin.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so we have some really fun and important and highly valuable topics lined up today to talk to our audience about here. So one of the things we're going to start off with is Erin is a longtime pumpkin planner. She's pumpkin planned Zephyr Recruiting. And so she is going to share what she has done and the impact that pumpkin planning has had on her business and how it's grown, because she, as a recruiter, is very unique in the world of recruiting because she focuses exclusively on recruiting for small business, which, if you know anything about me, and I've written the book, How to Hire the Best, you can imagine that Erin and I and Tap the Potential and Zephyr Recruiting enjoy a very close alliance in how we serve our clients and help them with hiring the best and setting them up to go on a 4-week vacation. And just as we were coming on the call, Erin and I were running a little bit of math and running some numbers. And we discovered that if you use the How to Hire the Best system, and then you go to Zephyr Recruiting, and if you're going to hire for 4 roles in the next year, Zephyr Recruiting will save you 500 hours of time. And we'll explain that in a little bit.
Yes.
But what we discovered is that 500 hours is the equivalent of 12 work weeks.
12.
3 months of your life. Erin, and Zephyr using the How to Hire the Best system, they are going to show you how to save that. So we will get to that in a minute. As everyone is joining here, I want to invite you to please start a watch party, because we want to share all of this good strategy with as many entrepreneurs as possible. So start a watch party, and I would love it if you would post in the chat that you've started a watch party so we can acknowledge you for that. And as we go, we have a lot of good discussion in the chat. We try to make these very interactive. And in keeping with our theme of self-care, I would love it if those of you watching would post in the chat what you've done for fun this weekend to blow off steam. That's a big deal at Tap the Potential, especially in our Better Business, Better Life program, because we are all about entrepreneurs having a life and not getting burnt out. And there's so much stress going on, and people are so dealing with coronavirus and then the racial tensions in the country. People are just really wired. And so as business leaders, it's very important that we keep paying attention to our self-care. So Erin, as we have people coming on, I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you, what did you do for fun this weekend?
We actually went to the beach, which was amazing. It feels nice and sunny, and I feel blessed that we're in this hemisphere right now and that we get to enjoy sort of summer-like weather. So we are on Lake Erie outside of Cleveland, and so we went to the beach and just played in the water and laid on the towels, reading books. I actually was reading Fix This Next by Mike McCallum.
Yeah,
right on. So it was just so much fun to just get out and really not do much of anything but relax.
Yeah, that sounds so nice.
Yeah. What about you? What did you do for fun?
So I hung out by the pool and I read, and guess what else I did, Erin?
I don't know. What did you do?
Knitted.
You knitted? Oh, of course. That's Sabrina.
Yeah, just I really didn't do much. The other thing that I did is I cleaned out my walk-in closet. I had a lot of kids' stuff in there, and now I can actually walk into my walk-in closet.
What a concept! Right?
It's amazing.
It's more like stuff-in closet, right?
Yes, yeah. So, but that actually feels very stress relieving to me.
Yeah,
I feel a sense of peace when I walk in. Andrea Walker, if you're watching this, was Smartly Organized. I can really appreciate the feeling that we get when we organize a space and be in that space. It's like clutter free. So that was my self-care this weekend. So as we are getting going, I want to make one really important announcement, and then we're going to talk all about your pumpkin planning. Okay. So we have our Introduction to Pumpkin Planning course coming up at Tap the Potential. It starts this Friday, so the time is getting very short to get signed up, and we only have a total of 10 spots. We're keeping it very, very small, so you get lots of individualized attention from us on your pumpkin planning. And we got an email that came in last week from a business owner who said they are really struggling because of financial challenges in their business because of coronavirus and the racial tensions and the riots that have gone on. And the request was for us to do like full tuition waivers or, full scholarship for people. And I personally don't believe in that because I really feel like business owners need to have skin in the game when they sign up for a course. A lot of online courses people don't complete. So it got us thinking, though, on the Tap the Potential team of what could we do to make this easily accessible for people who really need it most, because that's why we did this, is for people who've been impacted. So we decided we will give a coupon code, and it's code WAVER, which will bring you down, your tuition comes down to $500. So this is a $4,000 course with us at Tap the Potential. If you have actually been impacted, and we're going to go on the honor system, if you've been financially impacted in your business by coronavirus or the riots or just any of the stressors that have gone on in the last few months, you can use code WAVER. We're not asking for any documentation. Just use code WAVER. Your tuition is only going to be $500 to get into intro to pumpkin planning. So I'm going to put the link here in the chat. And as I do that, Erin, I want to invite you to talk about your pumpkin planning journey.
Yeah. I have to go a little far back in order to really tell the whole story. But, a number of years ago, about 3 or so years ago, I actually owned a different business altogether. I was a business coach and I worked only with small businesses. So that space hasn't changed much. But as a part of my business coaching, I was helping small business owners figure out, what needed to be put in place so they could scale. And oftentimes we would come down to the place where we needed to hire people. We need to add to their team so they could take on the additional work, and so that they could step out of the service provider role and turn into the CEO role of their business. And I would take that on because we found that, again, these people, my clients, were working already 80-hour work weeks, which I'm sure many people listening here can relate to. And so they had absolutely no time to add recruiting to their to-do list. And they often, couldn't ask a team member to do the same. Either they didn't have the skills or they also didn't have enough bandwidth for it. And I have a history in recruiting. So I would take that on as sort of an add-on service to my clients. And, I'm very adept at it. I'm very good at it. So I was helping them find the right fit, those great A players that they needed in order to scale. And I decided at a certain point, I was one of those business owners that was, working too many hours, not having the kind of focus that I needed. I didn't know who my target market. I mean, I was a mess. I was your quintessential sort of mess of an entrepreneur when I came to pumpkin planning. And so I became a client and I pumpkin planned my business. And out of that first pumpkin plan, now I'm doing it twice. I'm on my second round now. But out of that first round, I really discovered that the sweet spot for me from a service standpoint was recruiting. It was the one thing that my clients desperately needed. I loved doing and was very good at it. And there wasn't another service provider out there to serve the small business community. There really wasn't anything. Recruiters are very expensive. They don't focus on A players. They don't focus on the right fit. It's a completely different world, traditional recruiting, than what we do. So I decided to pivot the whole thing, stopped doing the business coaching and just turned what was Sage Business Partners into Zephyr Recruiting. And so that happened in the end of 2017. And we've been Zephyr Recruiting ever since. And then just to give an example of how that affected our business, I was pretty much a solopreneur with the occasional support of a virtual assistant or, something like that at the time. But since we pumpkin planned, I now have a team of 11. We grew in the first year and a half over 450%. So, just by focusing and, really understanding our target market, understanding the service we're providing, how we're unique, all those different components that you touch upon, and pumpkin planning, which you will speak more eloquently than I do as a teacher, but we were able to scale ourselves the way that I've wanted to scale. And although I still work a decent work week, I'm not working more than 40 hours a week now, which is amazing. I know, right?
Wow.
I haven't quite gotten to the 4-week vacation, but I'm close. I'm getting very close. Yeah.
So I just popped this in the chat that pumpkin planning led to a 450% growth for you at Zephyr Recruiting in the first year after you pumpkin planned. And that is not unusual. We see that. We've heard that similar statistic from multiple clients who have pumpkin planned. And the beauty of the pumpkin plan is, like you just described, you zeroed in on what your top clients wanted most from you and connected that with your strengths. And then you found an area where you have, talk about blue ocean, small recruiting. There's just nobody who does it. And even if there are people who become small business recruiters after they hear about your success with it, you are light years ahead of them now. Like, they'll never be able to catch up and do all the amazing things that you're doing at Zephyr Recruiting for your clients that you recruit for because of the pumpkin plan that you've done.
Yes, fully 100% agree. I wouldn't be here without pumpkin planning. There's no doubt in my mind. The way that it allows you to hone in on all those components, that sweet spot, is so unique. I've read every otother business book. Are you kidding? I've read E-Myth. I've read them all, And then when I picked up Pumpkin Plan, which was a recommendation of another fellow entrepreneur, I knew not even a third of the way in that this was, the way I needed to run my business and what I needed to do. And it has paid off in spades and then some. And then to re-pumpkin plan. So I'm going through the process again and it's not because I need to pivot. It's because I just need to continue to hone in what we do, who our target market is. When you're a newer business, a more startup first few year phase business like we were, we're trying all different kinds of things. Who are our ideal clients? We don't know yet. We're learning that, and now we've been in business long enough to be able to say, okay, it's time to evaluate who really is our ideal client and, develop our ideal process, figure out all the foundational pieces so that we can scale yet again, so that's what we're doing now.
Yeah, so pumpkin planning is not a once and done event. We pumpkin plan continually at Tap the Potential. We're on a every other year cycle. So every other year we do full pumpkin planning, which is where we do comprehensive interviews with our top clients. And then on alternate years, we do a short survey at the beginning of the year of our top clients and use that information. And so it's, just like you said, we're continually honing and refining based on what comes out of this. So we're going to talk more about small business recruiting. And I just want to wrap up here on the intro to pumpkin planning. For those of you who are interested, I typed the details in the chat. Sorry for all the typos. I was typing and talking and we're at the same time. But essentially, if you want to join the course, it starts this Friday, so you need to get in on it. We're limited to 10 spots because we want to give you a lot of individualized attention. You are going to learn how to pumpkin plan your business. We're going to handhold you through getting the pumpkin plan in place in your business. The full value of the course is $4,000. Go to tapthepotential.com/pumpkin webinar. You'll watch a 15-20 minute webinar from me explaining what's in the course and the purpose of doing the course right now, which is, I think this is one of the most critical times as so many entrepreneurs are having to reimagine their business if they've lost business and looking at the new normal and what's going to be going forward. So watch the webinar, tapthepotential.com/pumpkin webinar. It's about 20 minutes. And then you'll have an invitation to join the course from the webinar. When you do that, use code WAVER and it will bring your tuition in the course down to $500.
That's really amazing.
Yes.
So amazing.
We want to help entrepreneurs.
And I'm going to say one more little plug that, there's a book and a guide, right? You could try it yourself, but I can say from experience, working with someone else to help me pumpkin plan my business was probably one of the most invaluable parts. It's what not only keeps you on track and keeps you motivated. We all know the accountability side, but having those people to talk to help you figure out because we're entrepreneurs, we have loads of ideas, right? And we need that group or that, coach to help us hone in on the truth, ask us those key, really important questions. And I don't know if I never would be here if I had tried to pumpkin plan by myself. I would have probably put it down and not completed it, knowing me. I needed that piece, but the brilliance that gets brought by doing this in a group and with a coach is so invaluable. And it's what will let you have success in the process.
Really. Yeah, thank you for saying that, Erin. And as you say that, I was thinking about my own pumpkin plan journey. And I went through the pumpkin plan as a new strategist with Mike McAllowitz and Donna Lyons. So Mike is the author of the pumpkin plan. Donna is the CEO of Pumpkin Plan Your Biz. So she's created all the tools that go with pumpkin planning. And I knew I needed to do the pumpkin plan myself if I was going to help other business owners with it. Mm-hmm. However, if I would not have had their guidance, I would have stopped short of doing full pumpkin plan in my business too. I really thought, I know what my clients are going to say. I don't need to do these interviews. Right. Mm-hmm. I don't need, to do this analysis. I know what it's going to show. And it was them pushing me, to follow the process. And then when I got the results of the wish list interviews and the pumpkin plan, if I had not had them looking at those results with me and pushing me, I would not have written How to Hire the Best. That was where that book came from, that's what my top clients needed. And I would have stopped short. So just like you, it really takes, no matter how, and I'm a very dedicated, see a process all the way through kind of person. Yeah. I wouldn't have done it. It really does take that accountability and coaches and people who can see outside of us.
Yeah, I think that's a key. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So thank you for saying that. So let's transition here and talk about our other favorite topic. Recruiting. So just to kind of set this conversation up, I've been talking to a lot of small business owners out there. And when I start talking about, are you recruiting right now? Are you building your A-player attraction system? I see a lot of, oh no, because we've had, we don't have much business, or business is way down. And so we've actually let some people go. And I don't know when we're going to be hiring again. You and I, Erin, actually see this as prime opportunity to be out there and setting up to attract A players. Right. And just a little interesting statistic that I want to share. That came across LinkedIn the other day, that hiring at businesses with fewer than 200 employees was actually up by 0.5 percentage point in May, while companies with more than 10,000 workers pared back by 40%. 40%. So small business hiring is showing a gradual, teeny tiny uptick, and corporate hiring is going way down. And what does that mean? There's a lot of A players.
Yep, I was just kidding. There's a lot of A players.
Yeah, so say more about that.
Yeah, we are actually seeing the evidence of that. We are recruiting now for for many businesses, small businesses who do see this opportunity. And we are seeing not just a huge uptick in numbers. I mean, we are getting in some roles over 350 applicants a day. That is a lot of applicants to have to screen through. But we are seeing a significant, what we call it, uptick in the actual A players. The quality is going up. And I've seen some headlines here and there about, no, that's not true. Unemployment, these are just people on unemployment trying to fulfill their unemployment requirements. Well, first off, many states have taken that requirement away. Not all, but many have in this COVID time. They are not requiring people who are on unemployment due to COVID to actually just, apply to jobs just because they're supposed to. So that's one thing to know. But there are people who are evaluating their lives. I mean, both, I think, business owners as well as employees. And this is a time to make a change. So we're seeing a lot of people who actually were not either being fulfilled or are not happy in their previous role, are looking for something new. And we're getting that as a big story. When we ask people to apply, we ask for a cover letter or a video that asks them, why are you looking for something new? And we're hearing that story over and over again, that this is a time of self-evaluation, and people see this as an opportunity to try something to make a shift in their careers. So we are seeing a big uptick in A players and quality people who like the idea of small businesses because of all the different things that small businesses can offer that corporate can't. And I think we often have blinders on about that because we think, how can we ever compete with the big guys with the big benefits and the big money? But there's so much more to life. And I think we're having a huge cultural shift about quality of life is becoming more important. And so we're seeing this evidence in the kinds of applicants that we're getting and what the stories they're telling us about why they're looking for something new. So I think it's a fantastic time to grab A players.
It is a fantastic time. So I agree. As someone at Tap Potential, we so strongly believe that work supports life, not the other way around. And all of our clients in our Better Business, Better Life program are all about building a business that's sustainable, not just for them so they can have time for what matters most, but also for their teams. Right. So that their team members can have good quality of life. And that, because of coronavirus, because people are really appreciating the slowdown that we've experienced in our lives. Just in turn, we were talking about what we did for fun this weekend. I was doing a little journaling Saturday, and I listed out all the things that have not happened since February or early March in our lives, in our household, all those kids' activities and, vacations and trips and all that. And I looked at this big long list and I was like, wow, it's really sad to see some of this. And our life has been so relaxing and so laid back, and we're not running around from one thing to the next. And I think it's really been nice inside the company too, because we've had time to work on the business kind of stuff. And so, like what you're speaking to, employers or employees who are out there have experienced that, and they are looking for that work-life balance going forward. They're not going to give that up. They don't want to give it up. We're also seeing a shift towards people planning to work more from home, which many team members really appreciate that opportunity. And I think initially the first few weeks of all of us working from home was a little crazy as we were dealing with kids running in and out and, But now we've all kind of settled in and figured out how to make this work. So a lot of employees out there are going to want to have that ability going forward. So like you said, small business owners have those intangible perks that corporations can't offer. And at Tap the Potential, when we have new clients coming into our Better Business, Better Life program, one of the things we do with them is we survey their A player team members. Steve says he's totally this year. Yeah. Absolutely, Steve. It's fantastic.
Great.
So we survey the A player team members of our clients as they're coming into our Better Business, Better Life program. And we're looking at what do their A players experience in the workplace with them, because we use it to develop their recruiting messages to attract more.
Right.
And time and again, what we see that they appreciate is flexibility, an owner who cares, an environment that feels like family, communication, good communication. None of that costs money.
Yeah, right.
It's not like you have to be setting your team members up with, fancy benefits and health insurance and all those things. It's about the balance. And as a matter of fact, insurance hardly ever gets mentioned, even when we ask, what benefits do you enjoy receiving?
Yeah. That's interesting.
And most of us small business owners struggle because we feel guilty because we can't provide the health insurance and the retirement and all of that.
Right.
So these intangible perks that we can offer in small business make us highly attractive to A players. I think, Erin, we need to define what an A player is for our listeners. So A players are those team members that will go above and beyond in the company. They are highly motivated. They are problem-solving go-getters. If there's an obstacle, they don't stop and say, oh, I can't figure this out. I'll wait till Erin gets back or Dr. Sabrina comes back. They'll tell me what to do. They keep working it through and trying to figure it out. So that's the kind of employee that you're looking for. And then one of the things that I really appreciate about what you guys do at Zephyr Recruiting, Erin, is you put so much attention to the goodness of fit with applicants, their immutable laws, their core values with the immutable laws of the small business owner. And in How to Hire the Best, I make the point over and over that is the number one screening mechanism that you want to use. You want to only be bringing in people who are a good fit with your immutable laws.
Right.
So maybe if you could speak a bit about how you do that, because that's a big part of the time savings that you create for small business owners when you're assisting them with recruiting.
Right. And, the clients that come to us through Tap the Potential are so fantastic because they've done a lot of that preliminary work of understanding their immutable laws and, honing in on what's great about their place, the kind of employer that they are, the kind of workplace that they offer. So they come in knowing these things ahead of time. And then we take all that information and we help create a profile of who this A-player employee is going to be for them. And we are looking at immutable laws. We're looking at culture fit too. We look at, what kind of culture do you have so that we make sure that when we're finding the right person, they'll fit well within that culture. And what we mean by culture is, the personality. Are you a fun place to work? Are you quirky? Are you serious and very detail oriented? There's no right or wrong, but knowing what that is so we can bring in the right kind of person is really important. And then, obviously skills, experience, all of those things go into, who this A player is. But an A player to one business is a very different kind of person and very different kind of profile than an A player is for another. There are overlap like that above and beyond certain aptitudes or certain principles that guide them, but they're still a very different kind of people. So we have to hone in with a very detailed intake meeting that we have with our clients. And we also interview the existing A player employees as well, just like you do, to get a very good sense of who this person needs to be. And then we we do the whole marketing plan around drawing them in, which is partially the job post, which I know you talk about a lot in Tap the Potential. And yeah. Oh no, I can't hear you.
I muted myself because I have a puppy barking in the background.
Yeah, I can hear
people are going to hear this little yap. So I muted while I could. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So let's talk about the job post or the job ad that gets created, and because that is key to sorting out and saving yourself time.
Right.
As a small business owner, you want to write an ad that attracts the right people and repels the wrong people. Because if you've ever sorted through applications when there's been tons of applications, and that's the environment we're in right now, there's going to be a lot of people looking for work. You're going to get a lot of people blanket sending resumes and submitting applications. And for you, the business owner, you're going to sit there and sort through all that. It's a huge time suck. Yes, so if you write the job ad correctly, then you will attract the right people and you will have a lot fewer applicants to sort through. And so that's one of the things when people start implementing the How to Hire the Best system, one of the first pieces of information we get is, oh my gosh, I have hardly any applicants. And that's the best thing.
That is the best thing. That's what we get.
5 to look through.
That means it's working.
20.
That means it's working.
Yeah. And so when it comes to writing a good job ad, you want to be hitting the immutable laws. You want to be hitting on what it's like to work in your business and using the language of your A players. And I'm hearing some feedback now. It's kind of weird. Do you hear it, Erin? Okay, good. We'll keep going.
No, keep going.
So
technology.
I wonder if it's my phone here. I'm going to turn the volume way down. So you want to be attracting the right people, repelling the wrong people. And when we talk to our clients about writing the job ad, a lot of times I hear, I'm so nervous to write this job ad. It's not my skill set. I don't know if I'm going to do it right. And it's at that point I say, okay, I have a resource. I want to send you over to Zephyr Recruiting because they will do a bang up job on writing your job ad. They do this day in and day out. They know exactly how to write these job ads to attract the right people and repel the wrong ones. So let's take the work we've done. You just take it over to Zephyr Recruiting and then let Erin run with it. So that's one of the first places where we really see that you save our clients a lot of time.
Yeah.
And then
right. It's so stressful if it's not in your wheelhouse. Yeah.
And then as those applications come in, talk about what else you guys do that saves our clients so much time.
Well, we go through, we screen all of those applicants, and, the truth is the climate is changing, right? I mean, we've got much higher unemployment. So even with writing an incredibly effective job post, we're still going to get a lot of people who are just applying and have absolutely no interest in your role. We are seeing that. And like I said, we're getting up to 350 or so applicants per day for many of our roles, not all of them, but for many of them. And it takes a long time because you have to decipher which ones are the ones you want to talk to and which ones aren't. So part of that you talk about a lot is putting in sort of an application test, asking them to do something above and beyond submitting a resume, and, only looking at those people who submit that. And so we do that, whether it's a cover letter, sometimes we ask for an introduction video. I mean, we ask for different things depending upon the client, depending upon the role, what makes the most sense. Because some roles aren't very tech savvy, so we don't require tech savvy kind of things. So we ask them to answer certain questions. There's little tests that we can put in there, but even still with those, we'll still get about 100, 150 who actually are doing that, which is fantastic, but not all of them are A players. Like, they'll take that step, but they're not, right, the ones that you really want to talk to. So we diligently go through each one and evaluate them against this profile that we've created to see which ones are worth talking to. And that takes a long time. We do it. We're human to human recruiters. That's another way we're different. We're not using AI. We aren't using keyword searches. We're actually looking because we know that there's a human element in all of these submissions that we don't want to miss that. And any kind of artificial intelligence or, resume parsing, things like that just aren't going to capture that, the essence. And so we're looking at everyone, human to submission.
That is a big deal. And because your business model is very different than the typical recruiter, you're really invested in the success of the applicant with the placement, right, and not just trying to get somebody in the role and then you collect money because you got somebody in the role. Right. So that is huge. I posted a question in the chat, and I just want to bring everyone's attention to it. You have Erin and I here. We are small business recruiting and hiring experts. So whatever questions you all have about hiring and recruiting A players, get those posted in the chat, and we will try to get them answered here, or as many as we can. This is a great opportunity. And I also want to share my book, How to Hire the Best. This one came out last September. It became an international bestseller on Amazon, and so many of our Tap the Potential family of business owners and Erin were out there helping spread the word about this book. This is the contractor's edition. In September of this year, I'm writing How to Hire the Best, the Entrepreneur's Ultimate Guide to Attracting Top Performing Team Members. That one will be out September 15th. It adds to what is in this book. What's coming in September in the new book is all about culture and how to build a great culture in your business and a great place to work, which is something, that's why Tap the Potential partners so much with Zephyr Recruiting, because Erin believes that every team member deserves the opportunity to work in a great place to work. I am very passionate as a psychologist about creating psychologically healthy workplaces, which translate into common language as a great place to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Employees don't walk around going, gee, I'd really like to find a psychologically healthy workplace to work in. They walk around and say, I would really like to work in a great place to work.
Right.
So right. I'm very passionate about that. Our clients in our Better Business, Better Life program, I want to give a big shout out to them because they are working so intensively on creating that great culture and working on themselves as leaders, leading with love. I know Steve Bousquet is here watching. A big shout out to Steve. We've had him on our podcast, on the Facebook Live, sharing all the things he's done in his company to create a great culture, how he leads with love, how he tunes in to team member strengths and really tries to get them in the right role based on their strengths. And that has had a tremendous impact on his company. Yeah. So big shout out around that. I want to, as we're talking here, Erin, I want to talk about the time savings that Zephyr Recruiting creates for business owners around the recruiting and hiring process. So you've estimated that it takes about 40 hours to hire right to get that right fit employee in a role.
Yeah, that's average. I mean, it can take more, it can take less, but yeah, that's about average.
And that's when it's done right.
That's when From start to finish, that's when it's done right, which is why that's a hard number, to really.
Yeah, so in my experience, having walked a lot of small business owners through the hiring process, none of us do it right.
Yeah,
because we are distracted and we make mistakes and we take shortcuts. So in my experience, I believe it's about 3 times that. So for each role, it's around 120 hours.
Yeah.
So if you're looking in the year ahead of filling 4 roles in your business and you're going to do it on your own, like you're going to read How to Hire the Best and you're going to try to implement all by yourself, you're probably looking at about 500 hours of your life going to recruiting and hiring. 500 lifetime hours. And that's what we were figuring out, that is the equivalent of 12 40-hour work weeks. 3
entire
months. That's an entire quarter in your business focused on hiring for 5 roles. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to spend, even as I'm the small business hiring expert, I don't want to spend that amount of my time on recruiting and hiring. And so when you have someone who is an expert, who can do it for you, who can take so much of that off your plate, what is your sense of, as you guys come in and you do what you do for small business owners, how much time do they actually end up spending on the hiring?
With us, when they work with us?
Yes.
They spend, it again, averages, they probably spend about 8 to 10 hours per role. Some that take a little longer, might be a little more because we'll have slightly more meetings. But yeah, I mean, it's a 3-hour intake and then there's little meetings in between. Now they still have, that's the involvement with us. Truth is that once we find them that A player that we really think they need to hire, then they will have an interview process to put them through internally. So whether it's an individual one with the owner and then maybe a team interview, possibly a day in the life, working interview, things like that. So that still has to be invested. That time still has to be invested, but we're honing it down. I will tell you this too. We're doing more data research on our end, and we have never had, how do I want to say this eloquently? It's never taken us more than 3 finalists before our employees or our clients find their hire.
Wow.
We've always been able to present. Now we present some test people ahead of time just to be sure we're on the right track. I just want to be honest with everyone. But once we know we've got that profile nailed down and we know who we're looking for, if they don't hire the first or the second one, they're always hiring by the third. And that's usually high. Oftentimes it's the first or second. So we narrow it down so much down to the actual one that you're going to hire, that you only have to go through that interview process, that internal interview process, at the most 3 times. And that's pretty rare.
Okay. So because I know what we teach about how to do the internal interview process, because it's a very important part of the process.
It is very important.
I'm going to venture that it's really going to be about 20 hours total for that entrepreneur when they do the hiring right and they utilize Zephyr Recruiting to do a lot of this legwork for you. So you're looking at going from 120 hours per role down to 20 hours per role. And so if you're going to hire for 4 roles instead of spending 3 months in the next year, you're looking at spending about 80 hours or 2 weeks.
2 weeks
to fill 4 roles. And so if you're kind of putting this together in your head and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to go through the Intro to Pumpkin Planning course, and I've been hearing over and over like how that leads to massive growth. Guess what? You're also going to need to look at hiring in the next year. And this is the thing, that we don't ever want to be hiring when we are at capacity, because when we are at capacity in our businesses, we, the business owner, are carrying a lot on our shoulders. So we want to have our eye looking ahead to, okay, this is the growth that I'm projecting this year. This is what I anticipate. I need to start my recruiting now, because you want to be able to onboard those team members and train them up so that they're going to be able to help you meet that capacity as the business grows. So the hiring and the pumpkin planning piece go hand in hand. And it is very dangerous to do a plan for growth without a plan for hiring. Right. Because that's just a disaster. And at Tap the Potential, we're all about freeing up our business owners' time for what matters most to them. So we would be doing a disservice if we're pumpkin planning with them and we're not supporting them and getting those A players on board. And the cool thing that comes out, and there's kind of the chicken or egg thing. Should I work on my recruiting or should I work on my pumpkin plan? Work on your pumpkin plan first to identify that business sweet spot. You've heard Erin say it. I've experienced this too. Our business model shrunk considerably. What we were trying to focus on and what we were trying to do in our respective businesses got very narrow. Yeah. And because of that, it's easier to see what roles we're actually going to need to hire for and where the growth is going to occur. So you can become much more refined in the hiring process.
Yes.
So pumpkin plan first, then hiring.
Yep. I agree with that. And part of that too is knowing what kind of employee, like what does your team need to be made up of? Because if you're, too broad, you don't necessarily know what you need and what the profile is, right? Like what strengths do you need them to have? Yeah. What is the culture? I think you learn a lot through the pumpkin planning process on what kind of business you're creating. And
the other thing about the pumpkin planning process is we see a lot of people saving money on their payroll as they pumpkin plan the business, because without a pumpkin plan, we run around and we try to serve everybody's needs. Mm-hmm. And so we have a variety of clients and a variety of offerings and services that we're providing. And that's how we, the business owners, get stretched very thin, because we're trying to shoulder all of this and keep our teams going.
Right.
And then we end up hiring people to take care of our most difficult clients and customers, which actually cost the business money and reduce the profitability of the business from the top clients and the margin that's there from top clients. So when we pumpkin plan, we identify who are not the top clients, and then the business owners are at choice about, do we let them go or do we scale back? Or, usually it's a shift in messaging that will just kind of send the wrong people away, and you can get very tightly focused on that sweet spot. Mm-hmm. That is where we see when you bring in an A player in your business, you know what your sweet spot is, you know what they're going to need to be doing for your top clients. That's where we can get really super refined around what strengths are needed to do this job exceptionally well. And you can take that to Zephyr Recruiting and tell Erin and her team, these are the personality characteristics we're looking for. These are the strengths that we need to hire for, because this is what they're going to be doing with us. So Erin and her team can get super, super focused on finding that right person for you. And that makes it a much more likely that they're going to stick and that you'll be able to retain them. Yes. The retention side, when you use Zephyr Recruiting and good recruiting practices, you're going to have team members who stay with you longer, which saves a lot of money too.
Yes, a ton of money. Actually, that's the harder one to track, right? But we know the numbers are out there that it can be 3-4 times the amount of someone's annual salary to have to replace them. And, so retention is definitely one of our biggest goals. We know we've succeeded when our hires are there a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, so, and that's a huge goal for us is to have numbers like that, to have high numbers in the upper 80s to 90% of our placements who stay that long and longer, because, then we know we've made the right match.
Yes. And for the small business owner to have those team members staying, it allows you to save so much on your payroll because you're not having to replace them. And that a big part of what we do with our clients in the Better Business, Better Life program is helping them with their leadership and putting the systems in place so that those A players stay, because you're building the culture continually to make it where they want to stay with you, which long-term makes it easier to recruit in the future. Right. And so that's kind of the cool thing, I think, Erin, that we're getting to see is you have some of our clients at Tap the Potential who've utilized you now for a few years. Yeah. And meanwhile, while they've been recruiting with you, they've also been working on their culture and getting more and more refined and doing a lot more employer brand marketing, which is something else that you teach.
Yes. Yep.
And so when you start recruiting, it's easier for them. So maybe if you want to speak a little bit about the employer brand marketing side.
Yeah. And I think I'm glad you brought that up, because I think not only does this feed everything we're talking about, but it's a really wonderful thing to be doing right now during this sort of slower time. If some of these listeners are actually experiencing that slower time. But employment brand marketing, the general idea of it is you're marketing to your ideal employee, this A-player employee. And it's not just in the job post. You want to be doing this all the time, the same way that you market to your ideal client. So you have to do some analysis and understand who is your A-player, what do they like, where do they hang out online, what's important to them, what kind of language are they using, things like that, and then come up with a marketing strategy, just like you do to your ideal clients, to draw them in, to speak to them and to draw them to you. And there's so many different ways you can do this. It is something that requires some time and some energy and some, strategy, but it pays off in spades. I mean, the clients of ours, the ones that have come to you, Sabrina, and who have actually invested time in that, creating a fantastic careers page, for example, with videos, getting employee testimonials, showing employees on social media, doing highlights of key employees, things like that. All those things that I know you talk about, the clients that you bring to us who do that, when we go to post, we get people coming to us saying, I have been waiting for you guys to hire. I have been watching you, and I am so excited that you're hiring. And they come to us or to our clients because they've been just waiting in the wings to pounce as soon as an opening comes available. And we've seen this time and again. We're instituting this in our own, employment. We have our own employment brand marketing going on. We still have work to do, but we're working on it. And the same thing happens to us. We get people writing us, I've been watching you and your posts for, 6-7 months. And I'm so excited to see you hiring. I want to be considered. So it makes the recruiting process then that much easier. And then when you hire those people, they're already so dialed into who you are and what you're offering that the retention is there. So it kind of starts with the employment brand marketing and it just feeds everything else. So I say it's very important if you want to be a great place to work, if recruiting the right people is important to you, if this piece of your business, the whole employment recruiting side of your business is critical, spend time on employment brand marketing. It will pay off. It's huge.
Yeah. And so I want to hold this book up again. If you want to get some outlines of the things that you can be doing for your employer brand marketing, we have a lot of it in the How to Hire the Best book. This is available on Amazon. In the new book that's coming out in September, we have actual posts that our clients have made in social media featuring their A players, and some that are very fun. It'll really get your juices going of what the easy things that you can do to be doing this, to build this employer brand and get that sense when you have a job available and people start coming forward that, oh, I've been waiting. I've really been looking for that opportunity. And I want to comment, Erin, just like you said it for Zephyr Recruiting, we at Tap the Potential, we're like the shoemaker's kids who have no shoes.
I know, right?
Because we're taking care of everybody else's and helping them with their employer brand marketing and at Tap the
Yes.
And ourselves. So I say that because you don't have to be perfect at this. It takes just a little bit of effort, because I get emails from people who say, hey, if you have an opening, I'm really interested. And so I have my list of people. When we start looking at adding strategists to our team, I have my short list of people that I'm going to be going to and saying, hey, we have an opportunity. And that is really what this is all about, is everyone wants to have their short list of A-player candidates who are waiting in the wings so that your recruiting becomes so much easier. So, Erin, I want you to give your website so that people can reach out and know how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, so it's www, of course, .zephyr, which is ZEPHYR, recruiting.com. So zephyrrecruiting.com. And we do have a little section there on employment brand marketing. We do offer employment brand marketing strategy. We can help you come up with your strategy. We can help you implement your strategy. We can help you figure out what that should look like, as well as our recruiting services. So we offer, a little bit more than just recruiting. And so come there. And I believe I'm pretty sure we have an employment brand marketing checklist for you there. And I better make sure, because as you say, we're not perfect. We're changing our lead gens all the time because we come up with such great ideas all the time. There'll be something fun for you there. I know that.
Erin and Zephyr Recruiting have great free downloads that are always very helpful. So whatever they have up that's free available at Zephyr Recruiting, grab it. It's gonna help you. So as we go out today, I just want to remind folks that we have our Introduction to Pumpkin Planning course starting this Friday. This is your opportunity to really hone and refine the business sweet spot. And if you're looking at reimagining your business and you have experienced a drop in revenue and sales because of all the events going on the last few months, pumpkin planning is the greatest solution. Like Erin talked about, it led to a 450% growth for them at Zephyr Recruiting when they did their first round of pumpkin planning. Tap the Potential has grown multiple times over because of our pumpkin planning. Our clients who are pumpkin planning report similar growth. Oh, and Steve is popping in. He's utilized Zephyr Recruiting. All 3 people that Zephyr helped them hire are still with the company and excelling. And I will vouch for that. Steve has a great team. And the cool thing about Steve's company is he has so little turnover. People don't want to leave Steve and his company. So he really walks the talk with respect to his leadership and creating that great culture. So that's awesome, Steve. So Intro to Pumpkin Planning starts Friday. If you want to join, you can go to tapthepotential.com/pumpkin webinar. Listen to the 15-20-minute webinar from me about what to expect and how pumpkin planning will help you reimagine your business. And then you'll get an invitation to join the course. And the course is valued at $4,000, and we are giving partial tuition waivers. So use code WAIVER, and it's going to bring your registration down to $500. Like, you can't make it any better for people. We just want to help these entrepreneurs who really want to have a pumpkin plan in their business. We want to make it like, here you go. Yeah, we're going to help you with it.
So it's change like the climate of small businesses. I tell you, I mean, it's going to be huge.
I hope so. I want to have 10 people going through this course. I want to have 10 businesses out there using their pumpkin plans and experiencing tremendous growth and success in the coming year. That's my highest intention here. So thanks everyone for watching. Thank you, Erin.
Thanks for being here.
We will have another edition of Self-Care and Strategy for Entrepreneurs Through Coronavirus next Monday, same time. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.